name is Andrea Drake. My husband is Pastor Harvey Drake. He is the lead pastor of Emerald City Bible Fellowship in Seattle, Washington. Now, my husband has been sharing weekly devotionals with you on YouTube. And this week, I thought I would share with you. Now, I'd like to share in the form of a story. I hadn't heard this story or seen this story in a very, very long time. And you may have seen the author share his story on YouTube. The author's name is Walter Wagarin. And the story is entitled Ragman the Christ. I saw a strange sight. I stumbled upon a story most strange, like nothing my entire life had ever prepared me for. Wait a minute. Calm down. I really want to share it with you. Even before the dawn one Friday morning, I noticed a young man, handsome, strong, walking through the alleys of the inner city. He was pulling an old cart filled with brand new clothes and calling out in a clear tenor voice, "Rags, rags." The air was foul and the first light filthy to be crossed by such sweet music. Rags, new rags for old. I'll take your tired rags. Rags. Now this was a wonder, I thought to myself, for the man stood 6'4", and his arms were like tree limbs, hard and muscular, strong. His eyes flashed intelligence. Could he find no better job than this? To be a ragman in the inner city? So against my better judgment, I followed him. I had to. My curiosity drove me, and believe me, I was not disappointed. Soon the ragman saw a woman sitting on her front steps. She was sobbing into her handkerchief, sighing and shedding 1,000 tears. Her shoulders shook. Her heart was breaking. Well, the ragman stopped his cart. Quietly, he walked over to the woman, stepping around tin cans, dead toys, and dirty Pampers. "Give me your rag," he said ever so gently, "and I'll give you another." He slipped the handkerchief from her eyes. She looked up, and he lay across her palm a linen so clean and new that it shined. She blinked from the gift to the giver. When, as he began to pull his cart, the ragman did a strange thing, for he put her stained handkerchief on his own face, and he began to weep, to sob as grievously as she had done, his shoulders shaking, yet she was left without a tear. What a wonder, I thought to myself. I had to follow that ragman like a child that couldn't turn away from a mystery. Rags, rags. I'll take your old rags. New rags for old rags. In a little while, when the sky shone gray behind the rooftops, I could see the shredded curtains hanging out black windows. The ragman came upon a little girl whose head was wrapped in a bandage. Her eyes were empty, and blood soaked that bandage. A single line of blood ran down her cheek. Now the tall ragman looked upon this child with pity, and he pulled a cool, beautiful hat from his cart. "Give me your rag," he said, tracing his own line down her cheek, "and I'll give you mine." The child could only gaze at him while he loosened the bandage, removed it, and tied it to his own head. And the cool-looking hat he put on her head. Ooh, I gasped at what I saw. For with the bandage came the wound. and against his brow it ran a thicker, more substantial blood down his own face. Rags, rags, I'll take your tired rags, cried the sobbing, bleeding, strong, intelligent ragman. Now the sun hurt both the sky and my eyes too. The ragman seemed to be in more and more of a hurry. Are you going to work? He asked a man standing against the telephone pole. The man shook his head. The ragman pressed him. Do you have a job? Are you crazy? Sneered the other. He pulled away from the pole, revealing the right sleeve of his jacket. Flat, the cuffs stuffed into his pocket. He had no arm. So the ragman said, give me your jacket and I'll give you mine. Such quiet authority. The one-armed man took off his jacket. So did the ragman. And what a sight. For the ragman's arm stayed in its sleeve. And when the other put it on, he had 2 good arms, thick as tree limbs, but the ragman only had 1. Go to work, he said. Well, after that, he found a drunk lying unconscious beneath an army blanket. The old man was hunched, wizened, sick. He took that blanket and wrapped it around himself. But for the drunk, he left brand new clothes. And now I had to run to keep up with the ragman. Though he was weeping uncontrollably and bleeding freely at the forehead, pulling his cart with one arm, stumbling for drunkenness, falling again and again, exhausted, old and sick. Yet he went with terrible speed. On spider's legs, he skidded through the alleys of the city, this mile and the next, until he came to its limits, and then he rushed beyond. I wept to see the changes in this man. I hurt to see his sorrow, but yet I needed to see where he was going in such haste, perhaps to know what drove him so. The little old ragman, he came to a landfill, the garbage pits. And then I wanted to help him, but I hung back, hiding. He climbed a hill. With tormented labor, he cleared a little space on that hill. Then he sighed. He lay down. He pulled his head on a handkerchief and a jacket. He covered his bones with an army blanket, and he died. Oh, how I cried to witness that death. I slumped in a junk car, and I wailed and mourned as one who had no hope, because I had come to love the ragman. Every other face you see had faded in the wonder of this man, and I cherished him. But he died. Oh, I sobbed myself to sleep. I didn't know. How could I know? I slept through Friday night and Saturday and that night too. But then I awakened on Sunday morning. I was awakened by violence. A violent light, pure, hard, demanding light, slammed against my face, and I blinked and I looked, and I saw the last and the first of the wonder of it all. There was the ragman, folding that blanket most carefully, a scar on his forehead, but alive. And beside that, healthy. There was no sign of age or sorrow, and all the rags that he had gathered shined like new. Well, then I lowered my head, trembling for all that I had seen. And I finally mustered up enough courage to walk over to the Ragman. You see, I told him my name with shame, for I was a sorry figure next to him. Then I took off all my clothes in that place. And I said to him in a yearning voice, "Dress me." He dressed me. My Lord, he put new rags on me. And now I'm a wonder beside him. The Ragman, my Savior, the Christ. I hope you enjoyed that story. You know, in the Bible, the message in John 3:16 said, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. He came into the world so he can make an exchange. He wanted to exchange an abundant, loving life for our sinful nature. He wanted to replace our brokenness and give us abundant life on this earth, and not only for this earth, but for life eternally. If you want to hear more about the Christ, the Savior that we're talking about this morning, just contact us at drake@emeraldcitybible.org. We would love to connect with you. You have a beautiful, beautiful Easter. Goodbye for now.